Grand afternoon. That ended abruptly. That's a nice music. I was bopping my head to it. It was pretty nice. We're back again. Do you like the music too?
I like the music.
Good. Yeah. I don't think we should start with jazz. That wouldn't be. It wouldn't translate to word on the street. That sounds a little more hip hop. Correct. Well, sorry. It was a brief side discussion. We are back with our NYCID Word on the Street podcast, and to my right, your left, the lovely
Miss Belinda, hi.
And to my left, that would be your right, the wonderful
Mr. TJ, it's your boy.
And today we're going to discuss some highs, some lows of the year thus far, starting off. What are some of the one great thing that you would say about this year thus far? Because we're already past the halfway point.
So I just celebrated my first year anniversary with NYCID on February 12th. So that was last week. So that's kind of fun. Just making it through like a full year and just like seeing how different everything is and seeing how much the kids have grown up. That's really crazy and rewarding to see. Like some of my fourth graders from last year are fifth graders now. They're almost ready to graduate, almost ready to go to sixth grade. And just the way they've grown is so interesting to see. They're all becoming little people.
Oh, and you've been a part of it?
Yeah, I get to impact a little bit, Get to impart my agenda on the younger generation.
How about you, Mr. TJ?
Yeah, I think bouncing off Belinda's thing, I would have started last year, I think, next week, whole year in the school. So that's the big shakeup for PS10. So I think we've done a pretty good job. And like thinking about how some of the kids were and how, how relaxed I feel some of the students are with us. Like when they see us in the morning, definitely wasn't like that. But I think, it's kind of fun coming in every day. And then like, even though I'm super tired, I didn't have my coffee yet, but having to greet 20 people because they came to you first, I think that's a positive to think about.
It is. A whole year, do you feel like it's gone by this fast? Did you see yourself here a year ago? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think my whole life is different from last year. Like, I don't even know who I am anymore, in a good way and a bad way. But this job has been like the one thing that kind of like grounded me throughout the year. Like, I had to come here every day. Like, I had to show up. I have to like watch the same group of kids grow. So it's very nice to have that stability. I've never been anywhere for a long period of time. Like, I'm always like flitting around. I'm always like here and there, like at different jobs, doing different things. So having the consistency has been really nice. And I feel like I have a little place here, even though I carved it out myself. It's nice to feel like I can come here every day and be needed in a way.
Oh, that's awesome. I think I know for sure the kids definitely love consistency and stability, and you provide that. So that's awesome. How about you?
I think for me, I knew that I wanted to be in the school and like in education somehow. One thing I realized with all these spirit weeks, I do not have enough costumes for this job. Like every time we just had a spirit week where I had to come in as like a book character or like some comic book character. And I just came in as myself. And then I think they have like, 2 more in the year lined up. I don't know what it's about, but Spirit of Halloween, I definitely need to make a stop by or like Target or something. But I think that's just like a fun part when you're trying to professionally get into something. There's also, you come in so ready to do like the lessons and all this nice stuff. But then there's also that whole providing experiences part that you're not ready for. And I think one of those things, I think it's just funny to know how unprepared I was for that stuff. So definitely we'll try to improve that.
Mr. TJ brings out an amazing point. As a 6'8" dude, I definitely don't have enough costumes for Spirit Week, so it will be in NYCID gear all the time or something else, something more comfortable, because some of these kids are very creative with it. Like, you could tell their parents are like, they're in tune because they really, and I'll be like, what is that? And then it's like, oh, it's Spirit Week, but they do an amazing job. And Miss Belinda, who's the arts and craft person on Mondays too, how is that going?
Arts and crafts is good. I love Spirit Week, and whenever there's a holiday, I always have the kids try and do something like related to that holiday. So we just had Valentine's Day coming up, or we just had Valentine's Day, so I had the kids like try and make little like conversation heart pillows, and it did not go well. Just trying to meet the creative needs of like so many different kids with so many different interests is difficult. So I always try and ask them, I'm like, oh, like what would you guys be interested in? I always try and like freeform it. So one week we painted like their favorite characters. So I gave them like painting tips and all of that, but they were able to make it their own and put their own spin on it, which is what art is all about. And I feel like the kids are really good at that. Like you said, with all the spirit weeks and everything, like they bring their own energy to it. And so I feel like arts and crafts is good that way. And every week it's something different. So like I never know if they're gonna want to do what we do. We always try and like bounce off of what they want to do. So I got to keep myself on my toes, but it's fun.
The kids will keep you on your toes.
They will.
Right. I think, you know what? I have to do a shout out to the staff again, because sometimes like I'll come in and I'm in and out with the program, whether like transitioning or seeing about something. A parent came up, so I might be with the kids, then I have to leave to go tend to something. And then when I come in and I'm looking at the finished art product, or Miss Emily does STEM, and one time they was like putting together these marshmallows and stuff, and I'm looking at it like, because I'm always amazed by simple stuff, like how did you create that out of nothing? And so when they're describing it, I'm like, my brain doesn't work like that. So they're describing it, I'm just looking at them blank stare. But then when I finally see the product of it, I'm like, that is phenomenal. So she definitely has a artsy mind. How about you?
I think, when I think about, seeing talking about the fifth grade, when now that they're finally here, I think one thing that's great about being here for a year is you kind of get like these automatic systems where kids kind of just like make this routine that's not official. So one thing, like for example, with the fifth grade is we have a bunch of books here at the NYCID Hub, a lot of manga books, and I don't know where a lot of them are. They're somewhere in this room, or they're with somebody else. It's just that I have like two main librarians, and they kind of took over that job per se, like in October. And they're like, hey, Mrs. TJ, can I borrow this? And I'm just like behind my computer. I'm like, whatever it is, yeah, sure, get it. It's like that lazy type of parent, but in a good way where they learn this responsibility. So definitely that part's coming out. And I think even when these kids, like they know our room so well now, which is crazy. Like they know where to put art supplies. They know like if they should soak like a paint thing over there. So kind of seeing them kind of make the room their own in a way and like take up certain responsibilities, even when it comes to like organizing, I'm not going to complain. But that's growth. And I think it's great like when they have some place like the NYCID Hub where they can kind of contribute and like feel like they can clean and feel like they can help out. I will definitely be all for them cleaning the whole room without me telling them to.
I think it is amazing. And this is one of the things that like we're preaching to them, and my brother's keeper is like taking responsibility and getting used to that freedom, taking accountability as well. So that's actually exciting to hear, because they are moving on to sixth grade with way more freedoms. It's going to be way different. What's one of the funny, and I'll start with this one, like one of the funnier things that's happened this year. For me, it was coaching the fifth grade girls and boys. And in one of the games, being that they're just learning how to play the sport, the person was getting mad because someone was playing tight defense on them. And I was like, that's what they're supposed to do. Stop getting angry. Like the person stopped in the middle of the play. And then, of course, I had to raise my voice because it gets loud in the gym, and then the whole gym goes silent, so it looks like I'm yelling at them. But I wasn't. But I thought it was actually, they were trying really hard, but I thought it was comical that they stopped mid-play to reprimand the defense.
I'm going down. Move out my way.
I was like, that's what they're supposed to do. Relax.
They're so offensive.
Exactly. Like she was definitely getting upset. Anything happened this year that just made you chuckle?
There's always things that make me chuckle, but I'm thinking of one right now actually, and I feel like this happens way more often than it should, but also we've run into it a lot where I had this one student who was having some kind of meltdown in the hallway, and we have a crisis log, so everybody attains to it at different times. But it was my turn, and so I go into the hallway and trying to calm him down, and nothing's working. And I remember just thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe he's hungry. So I ask him, I'm like, oh, are you hungry? Like, did you eat breakfast this morning? And he's like, no, I didn't. So I bring him inside, and he literally just like shovels down breakfast, like shovels down snacks, shovels down like everything I could give him, like 2 bags of apples. And so I just think it's really funny when the kids are having these like really big emotional moments and you just have to sit back and be like, are you hungry? You feeling a little hungry, a little hangry right now? And like half the time they're hungry and you just got to feed them.
It's a fact. There's some adults that when they're hangry, oof. Matter of fact, one might be behind the camera right now. One of our team members, but that's fine because she definitely made a face. Y'all can't see it, TV land, but we can. I've like been on dates with a person that's hangry and we had to wait. It was probably the worst experience, and I just was like, and then my mood started to change, and then they're looking at me like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "You need to ask yourself that." Yeah, that was first and last date. How about you?
Oh man, I'm just thinking about the hangry part. I was on a road trip coming back, and I'm looking at Google Maps, and it said like 10 minutes to go to like where we were trying to get food, and I know the person with me is hungry, and I'm kind of starving myself, and I'm just like checking maps, looking at the driver's seat. I'm like, "You're not mad yet, are you?" Trying to focus on the road, see if I could take shortcuts. It was stressful. I was like, "Yo, I need to feed this person right now because this road trip is not going to end well if we don't get to there."
That's a sidebar. So all you hangry people, stop messing up the mood, okay? You're making us nervous. Mr. TJ couldn't drive. I was like, I'll never go on a date again. This was years ago, by the way, but yeah, it was not a good look. So
Or if you're in a bad mood, maybe just check in with yourself. Am I hungry? Am I fueled? And then if you aren't, rectify it.
That's a whole fact. That is a whole fact.
I think one thing for me is usually I do like check-ins to see the classes during the gym periods because I can kind of do whatever I want and then it works. But also it's a fun time to, be kids when they're moving around and encourage them to participate in games and hopefully learn how to shoot a basketball. There was one time when the teacher was a bit busy and we were setting up a game with cones. And I think this is the first graders. So I decided to just, throw cones like like bottle flip. So I was doing that with like 50 or so cones. And those kids were locked in. They were like, throw it this way. They're even making requests. They're like, throw it backwards to see if I could throw the cone and it flips up and lands perfectly straight. I never felt like such a more successful entertainer. I was like, I'm just here flipping cones, and these kids are like, oh. And then also now I felt like they're like taking bets, like, yo, parlay on the blue thing. I'll give you my snacks if he gets it in. So yeah, and I think just those simple things. I'm just messing about, doing my own thing. Actually, I think I was just trying to keep myself occupied while 30 kids were staring at me. But I think it's just like when you can, and it kind of applies to different things in this job. Like you do small things like ask if you want a snack, like occupy them with something fun. And, it's kind of funny that you call that work, but it actually does, in the end, you're building relationships. You're, showing some sides of yourself, because I think some kids, they really do respond better when they see teachers or adults in general being goofy, because I think sometimes we try to be so professional and stuff like that, standing up straight and talking all nice. But what kids sometimes want to see is that they can still relate to, the goofiness or just adults in general. And I think that helps, build those types of relationships for the future.
The human aspect of it, I think, sometimes we as adults, we want to, the kids forget that we were kids once as well. And
Still are.
That's a fact. That's exactly what I was about to say. Like some of us still are. We just might look a little different by the way we dress or the way we walk, but that's because we have to. And I didn't even realize that this was you're both coming up on your 1-year anniversary, and I think it's befitting that you're in NYCID because for me, what you just described was thinking outside of the box, right? Like you thought to without having to have a training. Like what? Let me try this thing or try that thing, and that's pretty much what it is. And Mr. TJ over here with the flipping the cones and finding whatever. And sometimes it might seem like a simple thing. However, it's like when you find that one thing, that niche that can pull a kid in, whether to de-escalate a crisis or just keep them busy. I think it's an amazing thing. So, any last words about this year? Things that you're happy for? That you would like to let the audience know before we wrap up?
I know that I'm excited for it to get warm. I'm excited for these kids to get back in recess because we know they need to be running off that energy, and I need to be outside more. So I think that once everybody, gets over the winter, everything will be good again, and like we could all just start moving again, and everything will be good. It's hard. The slump of winter is hard. Like once you get over it, it's better. And then you've graduation, like all these fun things to look forward to.
They're resilient though, because they will be outside, fingers like this, nose red, and they're just
Not me. I can't
they're having a
handle it.
blast. How about you?
I think one thing I'd be looking forward to is hopefully we can do a craft and we don't have to be cutting everything, which is great. But that's just they need to come to the hub more often. We'll give them lots of activities. That is like pretty easy. But I think we just we have like a little over here on that side, a little board of like little crafts and like arts that we kind of the student wants to give it to us and not take it home and put it on their fridge. We put it here in our fridge, kind of. But we're kind of noticing on how a lot of them color very well, and they use a lot of like vibrancy into those colors. So just seeing this little bulletin board fill up again for this half of the year is fun in itself because some of them are actually really good.
I think I'm looking forward to. We're having a women's appreciation event coming up next month. We're having a forum coming up, so that's what I'm looking forward to because it's going to be a huge event, like community event, and we at least get to see the students outside of school and more in their element. You don't really have to be as sit down, don't move. You actually get to like interact with them more on a more community level. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully many more years with these two lovely team members and the amazing jobs that they're doing. So this is PS10 team. I just realized that this is PS10 team, and we will see you next time.